Do you guys know that in Washington, state of Washington, people have to have long-term care insurance? It's a state law.
I did
Really?
not know that.
Yeah. State of Washington, you have to have it, or, back to the Obama stuff, you get a penalty at the end of the year. So it's on average, it's about $180 a month that you have to do.
That's crazy.
I understand, but I hate it.
Tell me more.
So I used to work for an insurance agent. So long-term care is actually, pretty good thing. So what it does is so there's health insurance or there's life insurance, right? Mm-hmm. But that's upon death. But
it's upon
death.
Death.
A lump sum comes based off of death, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much that happens in between you getting to a place where your health is bad and death, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes people need nursing home care, hospice, all of these types of things that a lot of insurances don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
So long-term care is for that.
Got it.
So it's preparing so that there's not a burden on your family members to care for you if you need nursing care, hospice, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So
I mean, I guess
people need to get it at a certain age.
I mean, it's just like any other type of insurance. The more you pay into it, the more valuable it is, type of thing.
Okay, because you have more banked.
Yes.
But I feel like, and this is based off feelings, not facts, but I feel like that doesn't always translate. And here's why I say that. So let's say something simple like car insurance.
Right.
You get into you have car insurance for 10 years, you never get into a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
You get in a car accident, it's your fault.
Right.
Your premiums do go up.
Mm-hmm.
So that bank means nothing.
Yeah, but you're doing apples to oranges. Car insurance is different from health insurance or long-term care and stuff like that.
So I think I probably need more explanation, because health insurance, if you have it, you have it. And then if you don't.
Right, but health insurance is doctor's visits, things like that. It's going to be a problem the whole show, bro. Mm-hmm. I can only go so close. But anyways, but long-term care is for that stopgap. So I don't know, do you have a lot of, you probably, but I have a lot of friends that parents are getting older now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so in the fortunate say I had a friend who his father had a stroke and became pretty disabled to the point where he needed a nurse 24 hours or couldn't, or if they needed to put him in a nursing facility and things like that. Health insurance only covers a certain amount to a certain point. Medicaid only cover a certain portion of that, or it limits the type of care you could get, right? The type of thing. So long-term care is just an additional insurance geared towards that type of stuff. So when you're in those type of situations where you need nursing care, because it's expensive. At the bank, somebody was saying they spend $6,000 to $10,000 a month just on a nurse to be there for their mother.
That's cheap.
Yeah, and I think that is on the cheap. I was thinking it was weak, but it sounded crazy to me. But I think it could be possibly, that type of expensive, where you're talking about rent per week to have a nurse just take care of, because obviously you're working, and he was all his money is going towards paying for this nurse to help his mom out because she can't function without somebody there.
So let me just say, even we didn't talk about this before, but I'm really happy you know this, because this is important information for people. I want to know if there should be an age limit for when you have to get it.
Well, I don't think there should be any kind of. I'm not into the government saying you have to do anything.
Right. Sure.
That should be a personal choice. You got to deal with the repercussions and all that kind of stuff. Ideally, it would be great if they just made stuff cheaper, right? So that it wasn't. You didn't have to have your whole world change because you can't afford, certain healthcare costs. That's ideally what I'd like to see versus mandating people have to do this or mandating people have to do that.
And we have to talk about Mark Cuban in just a hot second when it comes to that subject. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and it's good to know what that is, because I read it and was like, okay, I'm not totally sure what that is. So I was wondering, like, do young people need to get it? How does it work? And it was that it's the state offsetting the cost. So I guess the state of Washington, everybody decided that there should be like a more social program for health costs, but that just means everybody has to pay into it. And so that's why it became a mandatory, because anything that the government was going to provide for you, the government doesn't make any money, so you have to provide it for yourself.
Right.
So that was the whole thing behind it. But I just wonder, like, I wish...
Hold up, the government don't make money?
They don't generate income.
That's wild, because these politicians be like balling.
Well, this is a great conversation. Okay, so we're going to have to offshoot that for a little bit, but some people are saying that all politicians should get millions of dollars so that they can just focus on their job. But we're going to talk about that.
They already do.
Yes, but the way that they do is different than what is being proposed. So before we jump into that, let's talk about Mark Cuban and how the health industry goes into that.
Right.
So have you heard that Mark Cuban is trying to create an app, I want to say, that cuts out the middleman between pharmaceutical companies and
Yeah,
people that
heard
buy
about
it.
that.
Yeah, so it's only going to be a 15% flat rate profit from generic drugs, and you could just buy it. So it's kind of like that app. Do you guys buy prescription drugs?
No.
It's like Good RX.
Good RX, yeah, I use Good RX, and it saved my life a few times because I remember I had surgery once, and I was loopy. I gave somebody my card and was like, "Hey, go inside, go get this prescription for me," and it came back. It was $100, and for what it was Tylenol. It was like extra strength Tylenol,
Right.
and I was just like, when I came to my senses, I was like, I paid $100 for Tylenol. I could just take 4, But once I found Good RX, it was like a prescription was like $6. So I think Mark Cuban is trying to do something similar,
Right.
to that. So it hits your point of like things should just be cheaper. But what people don't recognize is the U.S. medical dollars helps out other countries get their pharmaceuticals as well. You guys familiar with that? Yeah. So. It's kind of that like, well, what do we do? Because our dollars are helping lesser countries get medicine, but is that really our responsibility?
And I mean, if it's affecting people here,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think that the problem with healthcare is that a lot of people don't realize how much is wasted and where things are. Like, I understand. I don't think that pharmaceutical companies shouldn't be able to make large profits, because I do think they're doing a lot of like research and things like that do go towards newer drugs that are going to be life-saving for somebody at some point. But there also is this other side where they're kind of manipulating certain things and making a lot of money off of that manipulation when pharmaceuticals and government gets involved. So
yeah, it's a dirty mixture.
But do you blame the company or do you blame the game?